Okay, I'm going to be going over some citizenship developments today, and what I'm going to do is each day I'm going to go through a different section of Frigate Bay. The reason I'm going to concentrate on Frigate Bay is this is where most of the citizenship developments are, and you need to get some sort of background on citizenship and how it works in St. Kitts, and if you're going to pick a property for that, or even if you're not going to pick a property for it, I'm going to tell you some things today that you need to know. It will save you a lot of headaches, hassle, and a lot of money, okay? Also, folks, if you want to do us a big favor, we don't monetize our channel if you will hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen. And also give us a thumbs up if you like our videos. It will help in our algorithm, and we'll be able to get more videos out to our audience here. Okay, now this again is Frigate Bay. And one thing I like about Frigate Bay is all of these are titled properties in Frigate Bay. If you go down this road towards Half Moon Bay, you'll hit an area. It's called Half Moon Bay area of St. Kitts. And the problem with Half Moon Bay, it's a real pretty area, but all of those properties are what's called deed of conveyance properties, and they're not title properties. Now, it is freehold, but it's not title. So what's going to happen is it won't qualify for citizenship. And I'm going to tell you something. I see some of the stupidest mistakes that people make. They go and they'll get a citizenship with a donation option, and then they'll come down and then buy a property. That is just incredibly stupid, because what you should be taking the property and going with the property option and getting the citizenship that way, because your government fee is only $25,000. If you go and get the donation option, then buy a property here, you're looking at $250,000 US. I mean, it's incredible the things that people do. They don't check into things like this. But you want to stick with properties that are titled properties, okay? I mean, that's going to make a big, big difference when you buy, because you can resell it for citizenship. And if you don't get title property, you won't be able to qualify under current law and be able to sell that property to qualify for citizenship. Also, another thing too you need to know, if you buy properties in St. Kitts and you buy them in Frigate Bay, you can sell to people that are not citizens of Frigate Bay, and they don't have to pay the land alien holder license fee of 10% if they buy in Frigate Bay. Okay, these are people that aren't citizens. If they buy in Frigate Bay, they don't have to pay that. If they buy outside and they're not a citizen, then they're going to have to pay a 10% land alien holder license unless they are a national of one of the Eastern Caribbean states. And they don't have to pay the 10%, but they do have to they do have to file the land alien holder license. Okay, and there's a background check when you do that. Okay, because you don't have that same sort of thing when you buy in Frigate Bay. It's a lot more confidential and things like this. Now, I'm going to go up here, this road. What you're going to find out in Frigate Bay, the government's looking at this. Some of these roads, they need to repair. This is one of them. I've been here 18 years, and they have done nothing. They've done roads all over town, but not here, okay? And this one looks like it's in bad repair. And I think the government's probably got this on their list of roads to repair, but they just haven't done it, okay? Now, again, I'm not saying that all of these houses are for sale. I'm just saying that these are houses that are titled properties that would qualify for citizenship, and as long as they're at least $600,000 US for the home program, okay? Remember that figure. It used to be 800. The government lowered it back down to 600,000, okay? So if it's not a single family home dwelling, it can qualify with a condo at $325,000. And they've really lowered these thresholds down. And I'll tell you something, I just did a video yesterday. If you're thinking about getting a property for citizenship, I'm going to tell you something. You definitely need to start looking into it now, because the EU now has determined that it's illegal to have a fast-track citizenship program in the EU. They just notified Malta that they're going to have to basically stop their program on their fast-track program. They do have a residency by investment program there, but it's 18 years before you can apply for the passport. And well, I think what's going to happen is the EU is going to try to come after the smaller countries in the fast track program in the Caribbean, which St. Kitts is part of. They haven't done it yet, coming in and saying, hey, you're going to have to end the program or you lose your visa free the Schengen countries. But I think it's on the chopping block, folks. And if you don't do something real soon, if it ends here on the fast track programs, you would have to literally pick up your bags and move, and literally live in a country for many, many years, and maybe even learn a different language. It's pretty tough. Some of these residency by investment programs are pretty tough, and this is the time. Once you get this and they change the law, then you've got it, and you've got those visa-free countries secure. Because I can tell you, St. Kitts is not going to drop those countries that they can travel to visa-free in Europe. They will basically give up the fast-track citizenship program. I can't speak that for everybody in St. Kitts, but I can tell you the ones I've talked to do not want to lose that visa-free to Europe. So what you would end up seeing, probably more than likely, is a big change in the way that they're doing this program here. They might even have a 3 or 5. I've mentioned several people in the upper part of the government that they should come out with a 3 or 5 year, maybe a 3-year residency by investment program where they get the passport after 3 years. Just as a backup in case that happens. But now this is called North Frigate Bay, this area here. This is North Frigate. And North Frigate is the quietest area other than dogs, because it's way away from the bar zones. The bar zones are in South Frigate, and that's where all the bands are playing. So you want to avoid as much as you can buying close to Timothy Beach, because that's where the bar zones are. And if you get there, the problem with it, now, one thing you got to remember too, is when you're buying houses and you don't get in planned unit developments, which I advise you to do, get a planned unit development. Otherwise, you're going to have noise problems with dogs. Because almost everybody here, a lot of people have these guard dogs, either inside or outside their house. And that's one thing you got to deal with. But if you're in a planned unit development, there are some that don't allow dogs. They allow pets like cats, but not barking dogs. So what that does is it's a lot more peaceful and quiet. See the views out here in the ocean? The views up here are really good of the Atlantic. The Caribbean side is back over this way. And we're actually going to show you that one day this week or next week. We'll be hitting different sections of Frigate Bay. Now, why do you want to say I'm partial to Frigate Bay? Because of those laws I just told you about, number one. Another thing, too, is when you get outside the resort area, even if you can find a property that's titled, it's not deed of conveyance, it's titled, it will qualify for citizenship. The problem is how nice do they keep those houses up? That's another thing you're going to have to look at, is how good they keep the house up. And you want to be close to the beaches and grocery stores if you want good appreciation. That's the key you want to look at. And this is the view I like up here. It's a lot cooler too. The further you go up, you get away from the heat so much, although you can live here literally no heat. I don't use any heat or air conditioning here all year long, 365 days a year. But what it does too, it's just the weather's just nicer, when you get more breeze. And remember again, the places that, or the months of the year, that's the hottest here is August and September. Okay. And one thing nice about Frigate Bay too, great places to walk out here, get exercise. You're close to the beach. You're sailing. Got a golf course right here, Marriott Golf Course. You can go scuba diving, skin diving, golf, tennis, like play soccer. You can play outdoor sports here all year round. Really nice. You don't get the heat like you get in the South where I grew up in North Carolina. It never gets, I don't even remember getting to 90 degrees here. It stays between about 70 and 85 almost all year round here. But the humidity drops dramatically in the winter months here. It's just such a pleasant place to live. You can get up on these hilltops. Again, we're still in Frigate Bay. So all of these, if they're for sale, will qualify. Doesn't mean that they are they're qualified for citizenship. Remember, even if they're titled property, the owner has to fill out information. They have to get like a survey. They have to get a appraisal done and a certified copy of the title. That has to be done. It's presented to the Board of Governors. You need to see a copy of that and get a good lawyer. We've got lawyers that work with us, so you can make sure that all your ducks in a row, because if you buy a property that's titled and that paperwork is not there, then you got a problem. You bought a house that's not going to qualify for citizenship. Okay, so you got to make sure that you do that. Now, let me tell you why it's literally foolish to buy a donation option and then come down here. I started to tell you a little bit about that and then I stopped. And that is that if you go and you pay $250,000 US for a donation option, and then you come down here and you purchase a property, you could have bought that property and picked it in the citizenship, one that qualifies for citizenship. And by the way, too, your best deals are going to be houses in the home program, not in the citizenship developments by a long shot. There's no comparison on the cost per square foot. So a home that's a resale now, a lot better deal per square foot. But you're going to have to pay at least $600,000 to qualify for that, to be in the home program on a single family home dwelling. Condo again would be $325,000. Okay. But again, even with that comparison, even the home program, the house option, almost in every case, the cost per square foot is going to be a lot cheaper per square foot. Okay. Now, you can see the views on some of these homes up here. You can see on the other side, which is the Caribbean side over here, the views are just knockouts. I'll walk up here where you can see it. But again, back to this part about getting the donation option and then coming back to St. Kitts and then buying a property. First of all, when you don't buy a citizenship property, this title property that will qualify for citizenship or is able to qualify for citizenship, what happens is when you resell it, you throw yourself in a market that's a lot smaller, because most of the people coming with money are coming to get citizenship. And if you don't have a property that qualifies for citizenship, you're throwing yourself out of that market. That's why I tell you, you're foolish to buy the donation and then come down here and buy a property, because if you're going to make a good, smart move, you're going to buy it. They make sure it qualifies for citizenship anyway. But why didn't you do that and pay only $25,000 government fee instead of getting the donation option and paying $250,000 US? That's not smart. But you see people doing this a lot. They just don't know. I think what happens is they're not getting counseling. What's happening is people are not sitting down and telling them how this works. They're just letting them come down here like blind bats and then picking a property and not letting them know this stuff before they buy. And it's real important that you know this stuff, or you can end up losing a lot of money when you try to resell So it's real important to do that and know what you're doing. This hill goes way, way up here, I tell you. And now you can look out. I'm up here at the top. You can literally see the airport off in the distance now. I think that's Monkey Hill behind that's that mountain, Monkey Hill. And then you can see the Caribbean side is right there. That's how quick, just from going down from the Atlantic side, walking up here, now you can see the Caribbean side. And we're actually going to hit properties on that side too. I'm going to show you properties in Fort Tyson and other areas over the next several days. All right, now if you go and you buy outside of Frigate Bay, number one is you're going to be going into areas that does not have a lot of grocery stores. That's the problem. You're also going to have problems with, you won't have the beaches, and you're going to have also issues with people keeping their house up. You want to get places that's nice where everybody keeps their house up. If you don't do that, you can end up screwing up. Now there's so many lots too around here. There's all kinds of lots up here if you want to build your own house, but I'm going to tell you, it's a lot cheaper. I keep telling people this, it's a lot cheaper to get a house that's already built now than getting a builder. And then on top of that, you're going to have to deal with a lot of hassles with builders. And I'll tell you, I would not do it. I've seen too many issues and stuff. I tell people this and they don't listen, and it ends up being a real headache. I would get a house that's already built and you check the house out. That's the best, easiest way to do things. Then it's already built. You can see what your views are. You make sure nobody's blocked you. Everything's already done. Let somebody else go through the headaches. That's the best way to do it. Now, again, on the bar zones, I'm going to take you over there one other day this week, or it'll be next week. And I'm going to show you where that area is, and you need to avoid properties that are close by there. The problem with getting at the bar zones, and you won't know it now, is you won't hear anything during the daytime. That's the problem. It's not until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when it gets real loud. Then you start recognizing it's too late if you already bought the house. That's why I'm telling you ahead of time. I can show you these places, and it won't be loud now, but you need to be recognizable that area is going to be loud at nighttime, and it's louder some nights than others. Depends on what's going on out there. If they have a band or what's happening there, but you need to be looking at that and paying attention to it. But like I said, the other areas that you can go to too is the Southeast Peninsula, but it's very expensive down there. They were going to build a golf course at Christoph Harbor. I think that has been tanked for sure, and that's affected the property prices down there. They're very expensive down there, and I think they should be cheaper, not more expensive, because of the you're looking at the there's no grocery stores. They do have nice beaches down there, but man, that's a lot of money you're paying down there. They got houses down there, 3, 4, 5, 6. I saw one that was listed for $16 million that sold in a foreclosure for $5 million US. So you have to know the areas, and like I said, for the money, I think Frigate Bay is the best. But this is what I'm talking about, dogs. And you're going to hear this like at 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes, somebody walking by. And so you got to decide, do you want to go into planned unit development where you don't have that? That's what I advise you. That's what I did. That's what I advise you to do. Because if you don't do that, and you can see these lots here. Some of these are for sale if you want to build a house here. Views up here real nice, but you're looking at a lot of hassle getting your house built. That's the problem. I'm gonna walk back down this way now. But we'll be hitting certain sections of Frigate Bay. Frigate Bay's not that big. So we'll hit certain sections of Frigate Bay on the northern part first. Then we'll start hitting the southern part. And then we'll start hitting the Southeast Peninsula. Once you hit those areas, I would not be going on the northern end of the island. It's too remote over there. There's no really much in grocery stores over there. There's one in Sandy Point, but and that's on the other end, the northern part of the island. And the problem with that is when you resell it, and people don't want to be that far out. It's only maybe 16 miles from Frigate Bay to St. Paul's, which St. Paul's is the northernmost part of the island. At Frigate Bay, they got a racetrack out there, but the problem is it's just so far away from everything that I think what's going to happen is it's going to take a long time to get that place built up. And meanwhile, if you buy out there, it's going to take you a lot longer to resell. So I would, strongly advise you to be thinking about that when you're buying. I'll tell you this, I've put in other videos, the best place to buy in St. Kitts, or even Nevis for that matter, for the money, is Frigate Bay. I've looked at both of them over and over and over again when I first came here, and it was just no doubt Frigate Bay was the best place to go. And that's what you want to be looking at. And you're looking around from there. The problem with Nevis, which I've mentioned to people before, Nevis, everything is cost more over there because everything comes over here first, then it's shipped over to Nevis, and that extra freight cost is added to everything. And you don't have as many people over there. You got about 4 times less people in Nevis. And everything, you got 4 times less of everything. Contractors, everything. So, they don't have to compete with as much over there because there's not as many people doing electrical work, carpentry work, things like this. And you want a lot of competition when you're getting a house or getting anything done. Doctors, nurses, you want a lot of people in that field. If you don't, you'll be sorry. That's why I've told people too, especially if you like to play golf, the Four Seasons over in Nevis is a lot higher than the Marriott Golf Course, which is in Frigate Bay. No comparison to the cost. And you got a really beautiful golf course. It's one of the cheapest golf courses I've ever seen anywhere, and that's the Marriott in St. Kitts. And also, if you like to do a lot of partying, all the partying is in North Frigate Bay. In South Frigate Bay, where all the bar zones are. The bars are located in the zone area there. And the problem is you can't go back at nighttime because to Nevis, because all of the ferries are closed down around 5 or 6. So you basically have to stay over. You got to stay in a hotel or whatever. Because there's a ferry, you don't have a bridge to go over Nevis, and everything just costs more, and you got less of everything. That's why I would tell you, when you pick St. Kitts, and then when you try to fish down your area for St. Kitts, then you pick Frigate Bay. It's just got everything. You got quite a few stores here, and you've got the beaches, all the nice beaches, and you're real close to town too. You're like 3 miles. You can literally walk to town. And everybody keeps up their place pretty nice out in Frigate Bay. These are the things that you need to be looking for, and why you want to be picking Frigate Bay over the other areas. Now, if you got any questions, just go to the comment section, and if you got any questions or anything like this, and I would like to hear from you. And also, if you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport as quick as around 4 to 8 months, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. Now, one thing I will tell you too, that it's really nice about living here, is it's the only place in the world where you can get a fast-track citizenship program as quick as you can in St. Kitts and have the number of visa-free countries that you have. There is no country in the world where you can get citizenship as quick as you can in St. Kitts and have the number of visa-free countries that they've got here. And also, you got a lot more tax advantages here than you do in Antigua, because here, if you set up a local company, the government here doesn't require the owner of the business to fund Social Security. They do require it in Antigua, okay? Now, you do have to fund it if you have local employees here in St. Kitts, but not for yourself as the owner. Antigua requires it on everybody, the owner and the employees. So, I mean, I've got other videos on that. You can go through and look at the advantages. It also is cheaper in St. Kitts and Antigua. We deal with both of them. We deal with all the fast-track programs if you want one over the other, but you need to know these advantages and disadvantages before you end up spending a lot of money and then looking back and saying, damn, I wish I hadn't done this or that or the other. You have to plan ahead of time in making your decisions, and you need to know everything that you're going to do, because this is pretty expensive when you do all this stuff. So you want to know what you're doing. Now, some other things too that's real neat here is your property tax is real low. It's 0.20% of whatever you're purchasing, with a $29,600 US exclusion before that 0.20% kicks in. That's almost a no property tax. Now, you know, Trump's talking about not taxing people from 200,000 down, and whether that goes through or not, I don't know. But you still got the state tax, and I don't think that's going to continue. I think if a liberal gets in, they're going to eliminate that. That's the problem you always have in the U.S. is you got a problem with the Liberal Party doesn't want that. They always want high taxes. One thing I like about St. Kitts is both parties down here. You got two parties, the PAM and the Labor Party, and neither party wants an income tax. And that's the thing I really like here. Is you don't ever have to worry about that switching over with one party versus the other if one gets in office, because neither party here in St. Kitts wants the income tax. And so it's just a lot. It's great. If you're a libertarian, man, this is the place to be. But like I said, this $25,000 government fee for one person, I don't think that's going to last much longer, okay? And if the EU does something with the fast track program, it will take years to get the passport here unless they change everything, because the residency by investment program in St. Kitts, man, it's 14 years here. You got to reside here 14 years before you can apply for the passport. And the last lady I talked to, it took 2 more years after the 14 years before she got that passport. That was 16 years of residency before she got a passport here with the residency by investment. That's why you want to get, to me, it's not worth it. You're better off paying some money, a little bit of money of 25 grand, one person, the government fee, buy a property down here, minimum 325,000 for a condo. Or if you buy a house, minimum 600,000, and get it out of the way. And then you don't have to move. You can stay where you're at. You don't have to reside and pick up your bags and go overseas. That's a pain in the butt, folks. If you don't know what you want to do, and you're trying to decide, you got to make sure 100%, because when you do an international move, it's very expensive. And to me, I would just tell you, it's a lot easier to get a passport and stay where you're at. And it's like an insurance policy. If you need it later, fine. If you don't need it, you've got it anyway. And your whole family can have citizenship here. To me, that's the easiest, most proficient way. But you need to do it while this thing is still in force. Otherwise, once the fast track programs of the Caribbean in, it's going to be very difficult. You know, these other ones like Vanuatu, the problem with Vanuatu is it's, that will still be around, but it's a garbage passport, man, because you can't go to any countries hardly in Europe. So, you're stuck with a garbage passport. You have to get visas everywhere you go. You don't want something like that. And I don't think they're ever going to get that back. Probably not in my lifetime. So you need to strongly consider trying to get something while you can, so you won't have to deal with you know, this shutting down if it does happen on these fast track programs in the Caribbean, because I think you're going to really regret that. 'Cause I told people back when they had this donation option to go in and get the donation option was 125,000 people waiting. Now it's 250,000, and you got to do this while it's right. The timing's everything. If you want to know more of this, again, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and ask for some help. And again, if you can help us out tremendously by hitting the subscribe button at the right of your screen. Also, give us a thumbs up if you like our videos, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Take care.